Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sirlinksalot podcast. I am your loving host, Artemis, and I'm here with Sirlinksalot founder, Nick Altimore. How are you, Nick?
Hello. I'm good. Yeah, we're a little earlier today. I feel pretty fresh and ready to go.
How many cups of
Um,
coffee have you had?
Only 1.5, so just the perfect amount to feel semi-awake. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, so I'm excited to get kind of spring rolled into this thing.
I
We
love
can see
keeping
where
you
we're
in the dark.
going.
It's like my favorite thing to
It's
do.
kind of fun. I'm not going to lie.
All right.
Yeah.
I like to keep you on your toes. That's why.
Mhm.
So, today, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be presenting you a series of marketing/business related hot takes. And I want you to let me know if you think that they're right or if you think that they're wrong. So, you will tell the
Mhm.
audience or, whoever wrote the hot take, here's why you're da da da. Sound good?
Okay. Yeah, so here's why you're right, or here's why you're wrong, and then I just go
Yeah.
into a tirade. Okay, all right,
And
sure.
then if the tirade, and if you're not sure, Nick, you can also say, here's why
I'm too
maybe
dumb
I'm
to
a little
answer.
50-50. Yeah. Here's why I'm not so sure about that one. So
Mhm.
we will start with our first take. In SEO, don't judge someone by their years of experience. Earlier in my career, I sometimes was passed up for opportunities because I didn't have enough years of experience, and that bothered me. I often spent late nights watching YouTube videos, reading blogs, then creating websites and practicing and testing what I learned. You can meet a person with 2 to 3 years of experience in SEO that has the equivalent of experience of a 7-year SEO, or vice versa. Always be mindful of the type of experience people have versus the length in years.
That's a good one. Here is why you are correct.
Cool.
Yeah, I would agree completely with this because somebody who's put on their resume that they've got 10 years of experience in SEO, I've ran into a lot of them. And if they're not staying up on the ins and outs of what's going on with algorithmic changes, with the ever changing landscape, maybe the inclusion of AI, etc., then the facts are that they won't know what's going on. And they, no matter how long they've been in, don't have a clue, to be honest, comparative to somebody that's been in half the time but really puts in that effort to understand and study what's going on. If I, consider I've been in SEO around 11 years now. If I consider when I got started, the recipes that I figured out that were working for ranking at the time, and even just the landscape in general, was vastly different than it is now. I might use some of the foundations based on those recipes, but it's changed completely as far as the products used, as far as how we use them, as far as how aggressive we can be, etc. And then if you look in modern times, I mean, like even in the last 6 months, we've had mad shakeups in developments in SEO. Now we're talking about how to get ranked in LLMs like ChatGPT, etc. Right? So I think this is absolutely right. The years of experience don't add up to very much if the person isn't staying on top of targets. And while I would say that somebody who's been in 10 years might have, who's staying on top of everything, might have a little bit better understanding than somebody that's been in 5 years. The truth is that SEO creates a pretty level playing field. It's the same as like a lawyer or a doctor or something of that nature that's got to stay on top of the ever changing trends in the industry. Um, a newer person, even within 1 year, if they're more data driven, if they're more of a nerd, could beat out certain concepts that a boomer like me, no matter how long I've been in, and I'm just being honest, wouldn't be able to get to. I've seen those young
Right.
guys too before, where they've got a more of a computer science background, and they come up with some cool ideas based on new technology that they can use. But that's part of it, is being adaptable and learning from those people as well. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give this one a correct.
Gotcha. And the reason why this came across my feed, I snagged this one from LinkedIn, is because
Mm-hmm.
actually another one of our podcast guests, Kira Kroshalova, commented saying
Mm-hmm.
that she was actually interviewing someone who had more SEO experience than her, but they frankly had absolutely no idea what they were talking about. And so she was feeling like, I feel kind of bad about this, but at the same time, if you're not going to stay on top of, the trends and what's going on, then
Yeah.
you're just not as an effective employee. And I know there are also agencies that specifically look for people who are rather green when it comes to SEO and other marketing modalities as well, because then they can train people to do things their way, and they don't have to like unlearn any bad habits they might have learned at like a inferior agency, so to speak. And they also kind of want to bring in people who have that fresh mindset of, I'm here with something to prove and I want to go get her. And I think that's like the biggest appeal of reeling in somebody who's newer. So I also think that you are right, Jeff.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I didn't know if we were leaving anonymous or not, but yeah. Yeah. Jeff. Good
Oh
job.
no, well, if they made the post public, so
Yeah. True.
yeah, no worries.
Internet, Nick. Internet.
It's welcome to the online. All
Yes.
right. I have number 2. All right, this one's a little bit longer winded, but I'm just going to cut to the chase. Are in-person professional relationships better than online ones? And the writer goes on to say, let's be honest, we're part of a global cybersecurity community, which is their industry, and a lot of interactions between that community happen online. And it makes sense since we work in tech, we understand tech. Interacting online is second nature to us, so we don't want to underestimate the value of online networks. But there are benefits to meeting face to face. And they go on to list the benefits of meeting face to face as opposed to solely networking online, such as apparently 85% of people felt that in-person networking allowed them to build stronger, more meaningful relationships.
Well, wait, so they're saying, okay, so they're saying yes, face to face is better.
Yeah, that's their take.
You are, oof, this one's a little tough for me. I'm kind of with them on the probably yes, which is how
Okay.
they answered it here, right? And
Right.
the reason I say that is because historically I would have always said, yeah, you can't have a solid relationship with somebody that you only know digitally. But as I started being less of a boomer and I started learning a little bit and I got online, I would say that the reason that I learned this business and the reason that I really got involved in it and started to flourish was because of all my online relationships. I was networking through Facebook, talking to people that knew more than me. As a matter of fact, Satish, who's a longtime business partner of mine, the oldest business partner I have, we didn't know each other or meet each other for around like 7 years before,
Wow.
I didn't even know what he actually looked like. I had this old Facebook picture of him. And when I saw him, I was floored that he was a completely different person than I thought.
Catfish.
Yeah, exactly. Complete catfish. But we built a really big, a great bond digitally. And that's happened more and more as I go along. In this industry, you and I only know each other digitally, right? But we get this face to face at least. But there's a lot of people who I only know, by their screen name, for example. Or if I'm talking about like, crypto or something like that, all these people are complete anons, but we share information about our daily life, like we kind
You're
of
best friends with
gripe.
Big Booty Charles 3958.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know what, like they're valid real relationships. Like we lost one of our friends recently, and the not knowing where they went or what happened to them, like it weighs in on you. You worry about them. So yeah, I would say maybe it's slightly it's going to have more effect in person, but that's not to say that there's not incredibly valid flourishing relationships digitally. And I think the more I become integrated with my computer and keep going down all these digital rabbit holes, the more that feels proper. And I know you're a gamer, for example, so I've done a decent amount of gaming. When I was playing Black Ops, was it 2 or 3, Call of
Mm.
Duty anyway, right? I had a team that we played together every single day, and that's when the game got fun. And we talked about our regular life. Then we exchanged phone numbers. We discussed, what was going on. We text each other here and there. I wish I still had contact with those guys. But yeah, you can develop very cool relationships online. And then let's go further. this day and age, who isn't doing some sort of e-dating situation? And typically, you can kind of feel out a bond before you ever meet in real life, or audit someone and be like, oh, this is not
Yeah.
the way I want to go about it. Now, I don't know about somebody, let's say, on Ukrainian Wife Finder, having a 2-year relationship without actually screen timing or anything like that. Maybe that's a bit egregious, but yeah, all of these things, it's an ever changing world, and these are the tools that we're using to interact with each other. So ultimately, that is bonding, isn't it, to a certain degree?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm kind of like I have like the same similar conclusions to you, but my digitally native self is kind of
Mhm.
shifting to be a little tiny bit more in person. And here's why. So there are people who I've met online who I've known for like 10, 15 years. We've been friends. We meet in person. We just get on like a house on fire. For example, I was introduced to a mutual friend maybe like a year or so ago, and we ended up going together to this cute little medieval dance party thing that was happening in Utrecht nearby.
Mhm.
And I'd only known her online, but her online vibe is so different from in real life. I was like, when I met her
Mhm.
online, I was like, oh, she's cool. And then I met her in real life, and I was like, you are the most incredible person I've ever met. Like the whole energy was just different. Like I liked her way more in person. Alternatively, I had someone who I was friends with for over a decade online. We're talking all the time. We share personal stuff about our life. And then we meet up in Greece maybe like a year and a half ago. She is a psychopath. She was
Really?
not even, oh my gosh. She was like screaming at random people in public. She was being rude to me. She started bullying another one of my guests.
Oh
I
my
would have
god.
never known. We were just supposed to be, I just invited them to Greece because they're both having a hard time. So come hang out with me in Greece. We can like rent a boat or something, and then we can, I'll show you guys around Athens. It'll be a fun time. She made it a freaking nightmare.
Oh.
So I was thinking, okay, maybe I thought I was onto something, but maybe I should be a little bit more boomerish in how I approach people and interactions in general, because that was a pretty scary, like stranger danger situation. I had no idea.
But how would you defend yourself against something like that, right? Like, you've already bonded for such a long period of time, you think you've got the vibe straight, and then all of a sudden you meet up and it's just I don't know if you've seen that show,
Yeah.
Worst Roommate Ever, where they find kind of a way in and then they become the nightmare, and based on legality or legal loopholes, they, stay and infect and,
Oh,
yeah,
really? I've
vampire
heard
off whoever.
stories. Yeah,
Mm,
I've heard stories about that, like, in real life, but I haven't
mhm.
seen, like, any kind of media about it. But logically, there's like, unfortunately, there's no way to shield yourself against it. There's no way to know. They could either be
Yeah,
like, the girl I was talking about before who was like, "Oh my gosh, meet her in person." I'm like, "You This is my new best friend. You're incredible. Where have you been my
yeah.
whole life?" Or it could be like that chick who I thought I knew for, like, over a decade online, and I meet her, and I'm just kind of like, "Something is wrong with you. Who was I talking to for the past decade?"
Were y'all FaceTiming at all, or was it just strictly
No, it was just
chat?
text. That was
Okay,
probably it. We've
alright.
never even
Mm,
had, like, any face-to-face thing, and then I actually had another mutual online friend who, they used to be friends in real life, and then
uh-huh.
after I told her, I was like, "Hey, this was really alarming. I just wanna let you know." Like, her behavior was just unacceptable. She goes, "I haven't spoken to her in, like, 5 years because she disrespected my mom after her dad died." I was like, "What?" Like, you
Mm,
just never know. So,
no.
I wanna say, like, okay, there was no merit to the whole stranger danger, chat room fear, never meet your online friends, whatever, 'cause let's be honest, there was
Mm.
a good bit of merit, but most of my friends who are my dear friends in real life, and I've met in real life, I've known them online for years and years and years, and most of the time it works out well, so
Sure,
I'm on the
yeah.
fence now. Yeah.
Just be careful with it, right? It's an open world, but, there can be pitfalls, I guess.
Yeah,
So, I
I
mean,
can't
we agree then, right? Probably
yeah.
yes, like they said. Yeah, tread carefully.
I I meet Nick and I did realize, like, "Wait a minute.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god."
Complete different personality right now,
They're trying to throw me out a window.
yeah, this is how I
Like,
bait you in and then psycho.
Team Team Sirlinks.
Yeah.
It's not what you think. Alright, let's move on to our 3rd one.
Okay.
Hot take. People don't hate AI. They're afraid of change.
I'm gonna go with a strongly disagree on this one, and not because
Mm.
I hate AI. As a matter of fact, last night I was kind of daydreaming or night dreaming, whatever you want to call it, and I was contemplating the fact that my 280Z, my 1978 280Z, broke down on me right as I arrived at my house off on a 1 hour
Am I supposed
joyride
to know what
yesterday.
that is?
It's a sweet car, okay, but
Okay.
it's fine that you don't. It's kind of fine that you don't know
Is
what it
it?
is, but no big deal. But it broke down, or she broke down rather, and I was imagining that because I've never rebuilt an engine or like really done anything, how fun it's going to be when AI is this little robot that hangs out with me that can just tell me exactly what to do. Okay, well, come on over here, and now you're going to wrench this and do this. Or, if you're cooking in the kitchen, like you got your little chef. Anyhow, so there's some exciting stuff, even though I'm kind of a boomer about it as well. But I think the vast majority of people, specifically the older generation, and yeah, I'm talking about people like me or older.
You people.
Yeah, us people. Uh, if they don't hate AI now, then they might hate AI when it starts to make them feel more obsolete.
Mm.
Especially when it starts taking their jibs and all that kind of stuff, which is already kind of starting to happen, right? But I think even about like trying to get my parents on ChatGPT or a lot of friends my age, where I'm like, dude, it's very helpful. You guys could really be using this to your benefit. And they're just like, it's not for me. They were slow to adopt the internet, they were slow to adopt any new technology. And this is just way too far into the future for them. And I think, yeah, there is an intense distrust. And I mean, that to me is warranted to a certain degree. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to say, well, I mean, they are afraid of change, though, right? So it's not just that they hate AI. Oh, damn it, they're right, aren't they? I didn't think about it hard enough. No, they're right. It is an
It's
afraid
a
of
tricky
change
one,
kind of
Blade.
situation. Yeah, well, yeah, I should pay more attention too. But they are afraid of change. I don't think they're to the point where they hate AI quite yet because it's not that integrated into our society. But we've already discussed it. You got the wire back and clanker videos rampant right now, which I find kind of funny. But right now, it's a meme that I think is based in, having some fun with it. When AI becomes way more integrated into our society, like picture the old dude at the ATM wanting to punch the robot service engine that's helping him out.
Are you
And
projecting?
I, I mean, if you hear stories about me from before I was an SEO, I'm not going to pretend that I was a tech based person. I had a habit of really not treating my computers too well whenever they wouldn't function properly. And I know that's
They were
that's
asking
the
for
that's
it.
the Neanderthal side of me, but yeah, I'm gonna be honest about it.
I
I
know
was
those are kind
slow
of
to adopt.
valid crash outs sometimes because, like, come on, man. Like,
Mm,
apparently, average person will tune out if a website doesn't load in like 3 seconds. And I'm
yeah.
like, if it's only I'm thinking 3 seconds is kind of long because, like,
Mhm.
I'm like, nah, I can't handle it. So I feel you. As far as the actual like take itself goes, I think people actually freaking hate AI. And I
You do.
think that it's because the majority of people who you see using AI in your general vicinity are like techie nerd
Yeah.
bros. All the people in my general vicinity are all artists. So,
Yeah, right.
all of like when you're talking about making music, you're talking about making paintings, you're talking
Yes.
about, your actual like passion. Uh People feel super strongly about it in my circle. And I feel like even though I'm an AI skeptic, I feel like I'm the most pro AI person in my circle, which is like the equivalent of actual degeneracy in
Yes.
art circles. But that's
Fair,
because
yeah.
I'm not pro AI when it comes to things that humans actually want to do, like
Hmm.
creating art, creating music, things like that. I think, like, what's the point? I
Yeah.
don't give a what the robot thinks is some moving rendition of whatever hodgepodge of art it's bastardized from other people's currently existing work. I think that it's good for like my business side. And like that's the
Sure.
businesswoman in me who's like, obviously people do need to adapt and we do need to change, but also this is such an unregulated mess right now, and I don't know how it's going to pan out. Nobody does,
No.
but I know that it has a lot of potential to be one of the most dangerous things that has happened to humanity in general. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm kind of like, absolutely not, but not for the reason that you think.
No, yeah, that's such a fair take. Yeah, human creativity. I mean, it's hard to say that it's at risk, but it's just like you said, bastardized via this little thievery engine or set of engines. Yeah, sad
All right.
times, kind of.
But we will, either way, we're going to make it through it. Humanity has survived many a crazy thing,
I don't know.
including, but not limited to, the Industrial Revolution.
I saw
But
the Terminator.
it's why you're a skeptic.
Think
Okay,
so.
I'm going to move on to the next one. Find it. I have two parts for this one. Okay. LinkedIn is just a stream of hot takes from jobless people who think that they're subject matter experts. It has long been a marketing platform for grifters.
How am I supposed to answer this again? I say
Here's why you're.
here's why you are right.
Ooh.
Yeah, I stay the fuck off LinkedIn. I think I'm just gonna be honest with you. That's why I don't even know what my profile looks like right now. I'm sure it's missing a decent amount of stuff, but I remember seeing Mark Cuban's early on when he was like first on there. And I'm not saying I idolize the guy or anything, but I just like I laughed at the fact that like, yeah, he already made it. So he's got a profile on here, but he didn't fill out fuck all because why would he?
Because you
Um,
know who Mark Cuban is,
yeah,
right?
the whole thing, and then if I've gone down that wall, especially now, it just seems like Chat GPT spam. Somebody's getting paid to put up a few social media posts. They got to be the expert, or the company's got to look like the experts, and it's everybody stroking their own ego on there. And while there might be some small, resources in there that'll help you out, I think most of it is just ego masturbation, to be honest with you. Versus if I'm on something like Twitter, and then certain groups in Facebook will involve some of that too, but certain groups, you can find people that are actually putting out information on there, and you can find little
Mhm.
rabbit holes that'll actually benefit you. I feel like LinkedIn is just a witness me thing, and going to the jobless thing, well, they've been doing a lot of data studies recently that say majority of the shit going on, not only there but on like a bunch of job boards, etc., is all just bot bullshit. So I don't
Oh
know.
yeah,
I'm gonna have to
that's
go
actually
ahead and say, yeah, I agree.
right. And I also look. I like LinkedIn, and the reason is because for every place that you see somebody who is following the rules of the platform, which in LinkedIn it has to be, very stuffy, very, I'm so excited and thrilled to announce my new position, or look at this fun new conference we were all doing, and things like that. You also have just as many people who are breaking the mold and making, like, the context of seeing funny people on LinkedIn is my favorite thing ever, because
Mhm.
not only are they so insanely out of place, but having the context of knowing LinkedIn culture is what you need in order for it to actually be funny, to see how crazily they're defying it.
Sure.
So there's this subreddit called, I think it's called LinkedIn Lunatics or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And they pretty much have an entire compilation of people on LinkedIn who are being dead serious about saying the most psychotic shit you've heard in your life. And then you have the people who go on LinkedIn and kind of satirize that type of
Mhm.
content. That's what I like LinkedIn for, in order to
Sure.
consume that kind of content. When I post on LinkedIn for my own page, obviously I like to keep my professional brand, tight knit.
Sure. Yeah, of
It's
course.
literally just, this is what I'm doing right now, and it's cool and it's fun, and you're going to tune in because everything is cool and fun. However, I can't scroll LinkedIn nowadays anymore.
It's rough, isn't it?
I can't do it because I want to say 95% of people on that platform are exactly what this hot take is describing. A
Mm.
stream of hot takes from jobless people who think that they are subject matter experts. And it
Yeah.
makes me so tight.
Furthermore, like, are there people, because I'm really not on there at all. Are there people on there that are bringing something to the table that starts a decent discussion? Like, you see that on Facebook pretty often. You see that on X pretty often. But as far as LinkedIn, and I can't say that I've given it enough try. Um, I just remember it all being verbal vomit with limited interaction,
Mm,
and I don't really know the purpose of something like that, to be honest.
right. The answer to your question is not really. And the reason is
Mm,
because so LinkedIn's algorithm is primarily recommendation based in the sense that whenever you comment on something, whenever you like something, the people who are already friends with you on LinkedIn or following with you and connected with you on LinkedIn are also seeing that as well. So
mhm.
it's kind of the best place to be a Fed and the worst place to hide from people who you don't
Fair.
really want to know everything you're doing. So if you like something on LinkedIn, it's not just like for your safekeeping later on. It's you broadcasting to the world, I agree with this. This is it. So people are very, very picky about what they actually interact with on LinkedIn if they're smart about it, because they don't want to come off as endorsing
Of
something that they
course.
just think is interesting or they don't feel that strongly about because it's going to come across their connections feed in the first place. So
Right.
that doesn't lend to the authenticity of LinkedIn at all, and it makes
Hmm.
it feel very stuffy because everybody is too afraid to say something that's going
Right.
to ruffle some feathers, and that's why.
Okay. All right.
Or even
Interesting.
liking something that ruffles some feathers. Like, what if I just
Sure.
think something is funny, but now this guy that I worked with 5 years ago at this one agency is now seeing me like some joke about cracks on LinkedIn, and, it gets a
Yeah.
little stressful
Unacceptable.
because yeah,
Sure.
unacceptable. Alright, let's move on to our next one. SEO is dead, websites based on quality content are dead, copywriting, also dead. The whole thing is
Uh,
dead. Everybody's dead.
Here is why you are a idiot. Sorry, I'm just gonna go all the way out with it. This keeps coming up. We've talked about it a lot, both in our Facebook group, the SEO Roundtable, and basically anywhere SEO is discussed. SEO's been dead at least 6, 7 times since I got started. It's always some shakeup that happens that makes everybody think there will be no recourse of action. It's just game over time. Quality content being dead is obscene. And I think, especially as people start to plagiarize and use ChatGPT for their own ideas, authentic ideas will be more important to the average person that's looking for these ideas. And they'll hone in on that. And as AI keeps rising, you'll start to see people really stick to who they know is authentic and not giving their soul away to a robot. Furthermore, from an algorithmic perspective, it's always going to be the same. And I brought this up in the group. I cannot, under any circumstance, at least like in the near future, picture any other meat and potatoes to search engine optimization. And this includes in LLMs, it includes if we go voice chat, etc., than content on a particular website or platform, and then press to that content, right? Um, like I said earlier, the press to that content maybe 10 years ago could be really elementary kind of stuff. You could be using spam to rank websites. And now it's gotten more complex. But it didn't mean it died. It's just gotten more complex, and the recipes take more effort, a lot more effort. And typically that means a lot more money to get ranking to work for you than it did previously. So all the spam, dealers, or the peddlers rather, yeah, for them, if they weren't willing to adapt, they stayed, back in some old wavelength of history, then yeah, they're shut out and it's dead to them. That's for sure. Copywriting, from what I said again, it's not. dead. Being your most authentic self is still going to matter more and more. And as AI gets better at detecting this kind of authenticity, which if you look at algorithms over the last even just 5 years, we had, you know, 5 years ago, Amazon affiliate sites were easy to develop, rampant. You could build them out. They're just review websites, garbage, 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 regurgitated garbage, and then backlinks being the main factor to get you ranking past the same garbage. Well, the algorithm shifted. It got smarter, right? Specifically for Google. And you started to have to bring something new to the conversation. You couldn't just regurgitate the same old stuff. 5 years before that, you could use a content spinner, which was just a tool that would take somebody else's content, spin the words around into a mishmash of garbage. You could put that up, hit it with backlinks, and in low competition markets, you could rank absolute garbage that the reader wouldn't be able to understand for the life of them, right? Things get more complex. We start to understand, well, not we, but companies like Google, OpenAI, etc., understand the tricks, the hacks that get past their systems, and so then they update them to leave a smaller barrier to entry. This person is absolutely wrong on all targets, but I invite these periods because every time they happen, if you keep your head down, if you focus on what will happen, and sometimes it's really daunting. Like recently with the rel equals 100 update, there's a lot of people freaking out that now you can't even trust your analytics and your data. Well, yeah, but it'll get figured out. That's the thing. And when it does, if you haven't given up and you've figured out how to position yourself in that market, you typically stay when other people have just completely fallen apart. And I've talked about that before
Right.
too. There's not many competitors that were here 10 years ago that I was up against that are still here. And I think it's because of that. You have to be able to handle the bad weather as well as the, smooth sailing, so to speak. So
Right,
that's
that
my take.
definitely adds up. And this particular take is like the craziest shit I've heard. I've heard SEO is dead. Okay, we've heard that a million times. I actually asked ChatGPT to find me some from like 10 years ago at least, and they came up with like a bunch. Like people say, like if people are writing about the death of SEO, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, here's this article from like 2013, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
and then there's some more, and then there's more. It's a thing. However, websites based on quality content is dead. Copywriting is dead. Like, bro, now you're just making stuff up. You're not even just being trendy. You're just like
Where's this
saying
person
stuff.
learning from?
You're just saying shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I
All right.
agree.
The next one. If you need to use Canva every day for work, you should probably just go ahead and take the time to level up your design game and learn Adobe Suite. Do
Here
you use
is
Canva
why.
enough to have a strong opinion on this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for all my thumbnails and stuff, I'm in there.
Nice.
I use ChatGPT and Canva, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't use
Mm,
ChatGPT a lot or Skirt a whole lot, but for that, I will. Here's why you are a pompous. So this one actually has its name. So, well, no, I don't care. I stand by it. Whatever. Yell at me, whatever. I don't care. It's a pompous take, and I don't like it. I do. I think you're liable to get a better product if you know how to use something like InDesign or the Adobe Suite. And when I was building my first company, Freedom Links, I used Adobe, and I remember I hermited for a whole weekend, and I stayed on my computer nonstop, redesigning the entire thing. I didn't tell anybody what I was doing, and I worked really hard at it. And it's one of the to me, it's the coolest design project that I've ever built, worked on. And I was really excited to bring it to life. Now, could I have done that with Canva? Not to the same degree. Absolutely not, right? Adobe does provide you a suite of tools that's going to allow you to, build things with a more artistic kind of lens to it, right? But if you are in the business that I'm in now, then spending that much time doing that is not possible when you've got to be doing and juggling all these other things. And so Canva, I don't use it every day, but of course I'm going to prefer jumping on Canva because it's much simpler, more intuitive, less barrier to entry as far as learning goes. You know, a lot of friends that come my way, they say, well, hey, who can I hire for logo design? I tell them don't. I say, you know, get ChatGPT to help you on some ideas. Then you can get in Canva and kind of play around with it. But somebody without any kind of technical knowledge can get in there and feel very comfortable using it. Now, he's talking about people that use it every day. It depends on what the job is, you know. Again, if you are a artist, right, and you need to come up with really unique if you need to stand apart, if you need individuality in your product that you're bringing out, then yeah, you would, you know, I would say that anybody who is a promoting themselves as a designer who is going into Canva and spending 20 minutes coming up with a logo that they're charging $500 for is an absolute atrocious piece of crap. And I've seen that, right?
I have too.
It's just out there. So, you know, it depends on what John Steven is, you know, doing, but there's not one size fits all for this concept, I don't think. So I feel like it, yeah, it's a pompous take. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, I also find it a bit supercilious because if you have something as user friendly as Canva, I feel like the only people who feel super threatened by it are
Yes.
people who already have put in the time to do design stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of being happy that it's more accessible for more people, they're just kind of like, well, since it was hard for
Threatened.
me, it should be hard for you. And I don't think that that's a very enlightened take in general.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I do have an issue with, it's not even Canva specific, this is user error, honestly, is
Mm-hmm.
when you can tell that a brand is just taking the most popular cut and paste Canva templates and
Oh
not
yeah.
even putting in the effort to like edit them or anything. That's just kind
Yes.
of like, okay, we can tell this was made in Canva, and that's honestly just lazy. It's the same thing with like copy and pasting whatever ChatGPT spits out and then putting on your blog, right? It's very, very
100%.
similar. So I
Yes.
do enjoy Canva, but the stuff that I make with Canva, you would have to be hard pressed to realize that I made it
Yeah.
in Canva.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
you have to know the platform really well because even with like their custom designs and they have their custom elements, I will save those. Here's a tip, you guys. They don't let you
Uh-huh.
save the elements alone.
Uh-oh.
But if you add them to like a different something, just like something else on the page, and you save it and you remove the background, you can
Mm-hmm.
then put it in another Canva doc and then customize Canva's already customized elements. And then like I've edited so many things where it doesn't even look like it was from something like a base in
Sure.
something. So
Mm-hmm.
there's like ways to go about it where you could also like put things into Figma, which is also pretty user friendly. I say that with caution, but it's fairly
Sure.
user friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that you can also do to make your designs pop a little bit more. But I quite enjoy Canva. I quite enjoy it for
I
what
like
it
it too.
is.
Yeah.
For what it is. All right. Okay, this one is like wild. The guy just says right off the cuff in front of God and everybody, ROI doesn't matter. This is a marketing hot take. ROI doesn't matter in marketing in general. That shouldn't be your goal. No elaboration.
I'm trying really hard to play devil's advocate here and maybe find a way to give him some credit. So here's yeah, but I just can't. So here's why that's dumb as fuck as well. Sorry, just is what it is. I don't understand why you would be spending any money on marketing in general if not for ROI. And you know, ROI doesn't necessarily even just have to mean monetary. Um, you know, sometimes it just has to do with attention or notoriety, etc. But I don't even know where to begin to acknowledge the opposite. Why wouldn't ROI matter at all in any situation where you're spending money to promote something?
Like, I
Yeah,
think that
sorry.
they might be separating ROI from something like brand awareness, but brand awareness has
It's
ROI. So
it's
even
still
with
all
that in
ROI.
mind,
Yeah, no.
yeah.
Yeah,
I have
if you
no idea what we're talking about.
imagine spending, $1,000 a month on a campaign for ads, just doing branding, but you still get zero sales after 6 months, then what good was the branding campaign? What would this guy argue? Penny, what would you say? I mean, growth. Well, let's see. Content to growth through exceptional content or else. So
Okay, so
exceptional content. So maybe as an artist, right? Um, so since you put that in my head, all right. So let's say an artist or somebody who is doing something simply for the sake of doing it, which I can appreciate wholeheartedly. If we're talking about this outside of a business sense, then sure, yeah, I
this
can
is
I can
LinkedIn.
side with you on.
This is
Damn it, and then we're talking about well, content, like even as a even as a novelist or something like that, you'd want the return on investment
you
of
have to sell
people
it.
maybe reading your stuff. Yeah, never mind even selling it, just like appreciation for it, or like shaking something up. No, sorry. Return on your investment, which is your time for whatever the hell the endeavor is
Mm.
whether that be monetary, emotional, whatever the driving factor. It's yeah, that's bull. Even a
I,
monk sitting in a fucking cave somewhere expects a
mm.
return on their investment, which is time contemplating to pacify the psyche, so to speak. Yeah, no, no bullshit comment.
Yeah, if you're even if you're looking at it from like a purely artistic perspective, I guess ROI doesn't have to always be monetary, but it's still like there, you know?
Sure.
So I and plus this person is they work in content. Okay, as a
Yeah.
content marketer, I think that maybe this is like a bit of a cope where, you know, it's very difficult to demonstrate the ROI when it comes to content marketing. I know as a content marketer,
Yeah.
okay. But if you're data driven, yes, it can be done. But if you're more
Mhm.
person who's into content because you're a huge fan of the creative side, I can see why someone would struggle to grasp the concept of, you know, hey, this is something that you can attribute to actual ROI if you're tracking the proper metrics or if you have the proper approach that's aligning with the overall brand initiative. I think that this take in general is like a misunderstanding of the field, just in
I
general.
I feel like if they would have just, as a content marketer, maybe just thought about this a little bit longer and said ROI isn't everything, then that would maybe be something that I could get
Sure,
behind a little bit better. But
we can
yeah,
work with
sorry.
that.
Poorly written content here, Penny. Maybe reconsider next time.
And by the way, there was no elaboration on this whatsoever. Like I
Really?
blinked.
What
Oh
did
no, yeah.
people? Well,
People were
there's
asking.
people.
Yeah, there were like several
Yeah,
people who
so
were like,
then
"What are
they
you
got
talking
stuck,
about?"
huh? All right.
Yeah,
Well,
just nothing.
sorry.
It's been a week, nothing. Which
Of
you know,
course, it was on
I kind of
LinkedIn,
respect.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's like, come
lots
on,
of
kind of iconic when you think about it. All right, this one is also a fun one. People are tired of digital. Long live direct mail.
Woo. All right, I can play devil's advocate to this one.
Boomer.
Here's why you are sort of correct.
Oh,
Um,
shut up.
just because
Shut up.
lately I've been again, I've been doing whatnot abuse, so I've been really digging into my pocketbook, and every time I go outside, that I've got a stack of packages, which are all comic books, waiting for me, I get so giddy. I haven't felt like that about an email I've received in forever. Even getting an email where it's like, "Oh, just landed a huge job," right? Don't care as much as this re uh, resurgence to just snail mail. It's exciting, but
Nicholas.
let's say
Nicholas.
this, do I like getting bank statements in the mail versus just being able to get online? Dude, get the out of here. Like, no, I mean, that's crazy. However, if you talk to a guy like my dad, I guarantee you he would much rather be waiting on mail to come in nice and slow. with a check in it. I know that's a sore subject for you right now, but
You said a what?
ah,
Ah!
but yeah, no, I don't know if they're completely tired of digital. It simplifies so much. Going back to the days of just like endless junk mail stuffed in your actual mailbox, while you've got spam filters and promotional filters in your Gmail that work relatively well. This take, while I can understand it to a certain degree, is not
It's not
very
it.
correct. No, no.
Here's why you're both boomers. So the reason why Nick is making fun of me for chuckling about saying like his father's waiting on checks, because that's like the most boomer thing ever. And there is a client who insists upon sending me a check.
It's not
However,
me.
it's not Nick, and I feel like it's very clear. We're a very modern, digitally based company because we love the digital era.
Yes.
However, this client also look, they see a good amount of ROI by sending postcards in the mail. The reason is because their clientele are also boomers.
Of
It is
course.
in the electrical industry. So they're not really checking their email. Their websites look abysmal. Thank God it's why I have a job. Their social media, abysmal. Email marketing initiatives, good, but that's because there's a millennial running it, right? When
Mm,
it comes to direct mail marketing, if you have an audience, very, very, very niche audience who would appreciate that, then yes, this take is a thing.
sure.
However, they said people are tired of digital. Bro,
Yeah.
they're not. Most people are tired of digital. Long live direct mail. Direct mail is not going to live very long. Direct mail is gone within the past 10 years, within the next 10 years, if current trends continue as far as marketing goes. But if
Yeah.
there's people like Nick who are sitting over here and like if you get like something in the mail
I'll
and
tell
you're
you this.
waiting on that,
Yeah. I don't read books on my tablet, and I don't think I'll ever do that. No,
you
you've
read
got
book
to.
books.
Yes. Yeah. And I got to order them, and I get excited about them coming in, or I get excited about going to the bookstore,
Okay.
but that's a different subject altogether, right? But reading this
Okay.
guy's
Okay.
little summary here, I can't tell if he's a boomer, but then, he does
Hold
digital
on.
marketing at wherever. So what is
No, this is a man who's still got his youth about him. And it makes me wonder what industry he is because
but it says digital marketing at Telcor, whatever. And so I'm like, well, what was the purpose of this post? Because you're kind of going against what it seems your job description and your summary is
oh yeah, that kind of post
tuned
seems
to,
kind
right?
of bad for ROI. Let me do a little bit of digging.
Right?
Let me just see what industry we're talking about, okay? Yeah, this is definitely a digital marketer. Yeah, that's a fascinating take for a digital marketer to have, that people are tired of digital. Um, Nick, have
God,
you seen any ROI from digital marketing at all?
just a
Or
little bit.
just a little
Just a
bit?
little bit. Yeah. And
No,
what's
that's
funny about that
fascinating.
is when I first started out, we went through the gambit as far as trying to figure out how to get clientele. When I started out, I was purely agency. And yeah, doing snail mail approach, we tried that where you would kind of create these little packages that like felt like they had a little something extra in there. So you'd get people to open them, all that kind of stuff. I'll tell you, that was a lot of work, and it didn't work half as well as anything I've done digitally as far as outreach goes.
Would
So
you
no,
like
I
to
couldn't stand
receive
by it.
something like that as
No,
like
I
outreach?
I receive shit like that all the time, and I throw it in the garbage. Like the trash can's close enough. I won't even walk it inside. It just goes direct in there. No, I
Oh, so
don't
you
look
only
at it.
like direct mail when it's
It's
like
something I
something you're
want.
waiting on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. Normally people who are like your dad, for instance, he would be
Hmm.
like, "Oh yeah, this promotional. I'm so glad they took the time to send me that."
Yeah.
You know what I did recently, Nick? I don't know why I did this.
Uh-oh.
Actually, no, I know why I did this. So I was talking to this guy who Somehow he's older than you, even Nick. He's like 65, 70. I didn't even
Listen,
know.
guys, I'm a millennial, okay? I'm not actually a boomer. I feel like I have to defend my honor all of a sudden, but
No,
I'm old,
you're
but I ain't that
geriatric,
old, all right? God damn it.
geriatric millennial. That's a thing.
That's
Geriatric millennial.
I
And
can't
at
argue
the end
that.
of our conversation, this gentleman goes, "Do you have a business card? Because my daughter's interested in digital
Ugh.
marketing and I want to, maybe refer her to you if you want to talk to her." I said, "Yeah, I would love to talk to her, but I forgot my business cards at home. They're in my other
Yeah,
purse.
sure.
So I'll just send you an email, right?"
Mhm.
I've never had a business card in my life. I didn't even know that people still handed those out. So I went and I just kind of made one, and it looks nice
Let me see
enough.
that
Let me
thing.
cover up.
I can't see
Yeah.
it.
Well, you know
Mm,
what? It's there.
well,
Just
I'm sure it's really nice though. You
it's
know,
cute.
you work really hard. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see that side
Okay,
of it. Yeah, it looks good.
it's
But
cute.
how many of those do you think you're going to pass out? And then what do you think happens to them when they get passed out? Because I've gone to a lot of conferences. People hand me cards, and I'll tell you what, I'm
Really?
sorry if you're watching this video and you've handed me a card, but it hasn't made it very far into my life. That's all I'm gonna say. Shooting me a
Fair enough.
DM on Facebook is a much better way, you know, to get
Yeah,
at
I
me.
feel like with my business cards, I would get more use out of. Okay, the only time I've actually used these business cards is when I was trying to rescue a cat, and it was in a place that's a little bit of a walk away from my house.
Hmm.
So I was handing out my business card to residents who I saw walking past the building, saying, "If you see a cat in this trap, call me so that it's not waiting for too long." And here's my business card. And
Okay.
because people aren't gonna stop and like take your number. There's like walking. I said, "Okay, well, here's my card," and I also
Hmm.
put one of my cards on the cage. And we walked by and we saw the cat. No one actually used it, so
Uh-huh.
I don't even know if it worked. But I mean, it's there. And if I had when I go to conferences, I'll be having my separate I'll be like, "Okay, this is my Sirlink's business card." I'll be like decked out in like all Sirlink stuff. I feel like though the people who are in our industry would be like the same as you. They'd be like, "Dude, just send me a Facebook message. We're digital marketers. What the hell are
Yeah.
you doing?" Right?
Facebook message or like, LinkedIn profile, which goes to I know I said that,
Yeah.
which goes to like, I think the modern business card is having a website, right? Dedicated to yourself, even if it's just
Yeah.
like kind of a splash page that showcases who you are and what you do. That's a more modernized version. You don't have to spend, well, you don't have to keep them in inventory, carry them around with you. And
But it feels nice,
yeah,
doesn't it? Do you have business cards?
yeah, I still have business cards. No, well, no, not for anything modern, but I have my
Oh,
old business cards, especially when I first started. It's like that would be one of the first things I thought about. Oh, we got to get a business card, right?
yeah.
Um, let's say I ordered like 200 of them, I probably still have like 150 shoved in a drawer somewhere.
Oh my gosh. Same. I
No.
have like this big old like box. I'm not even gonna like bring it up here because it'll just fall out all over the place. Just a box of stuff. And it's just kind of like, "I'm Artemis. I do
Yeah.
digital marketing.
Check it out. Here you
Here's my
go. Here you
email."
go. I
Yeah.
I
You
I'm
guys
kind of
want some
embarrassed. I'm
links?
kind of embarrassed to say this, but I remember when we first got our first cards, and I was doing work with Ryan, who you've met.
Yeah.
He was on our podcast. We got our cards. It was one of the first things we did, and then we went out and partied in downtown Austin, and we just passed our cards around nonstop, and it was sort of like a plug. Oh yeah, we're
You're
entrepreneurs,
important.
broke ass entrepreneurs. That's something you'll notice too. Is like, yeah, as you get more comfy and you really like make a name and kind of evolve in your business. The theatrics just kind of go away. There's no purpose. Like you've already put it all out there. Take it or
And you're
leave
just
it.
like, are you at the point
It's
now where you're kind
digital,
of like
my
over
friend.
it?
I would,
Like,
yeah, I would not get another set of cards done, and I wouldn't carry them with me to pass around or anything. For example, like
okay,
if you go to conferences or something, I'll print off stickers so that people can play with the stickers, but it's not going to have my name and information on it. It's just a branded sticker. Just that's more fun,
okay.
and it's got branding involved with it, and people might use it. They might throw it on their laptop, or I don't know what
Well,
psychopath would
that's
put it
such
on
a
their car,
flex,
but
though. like to have evolved past, like, you guys don't even need to know my name. I have multiple companies, so if you know my name, it's not going to tell you anything. Here's just a sticker. Have fun with it, kid.
I
That's
don't
such
like
a
to be
goal.
that ego driven about it, but yeah,
I'll be your ego
I don't,
for you.
no,
Don't worry. I'll hype you up.
I don't want to have to pass around cars. I don't want to have to carry that. While it needs
Yeah.
to be very small, I'm not carrying around 10,000 things. Like you see those boomer wallets that are like this thick, and they've got
Oh yeah.
everybody's card in there. They don't look at that crap. I don't think it's like a Rolodex of cards, and I don't know.
No, no way. I got one business card earlier. What was it for? I don't remember for the life of me. Gosh, I don't remember,
Yeah,
but
see.
somebody literally just took it out to, like, write something on it and then gave it to me, and I was like, "Did you just give me a business card?" Like,
Talk
what?
about staying power, don't even
Yeah, and
remember.
I thought maybe it's, like, a regional thing because I'm in the Netherlands right now,
Mm,
and I went to, ask my friend because I was venting to her about the check situation. I said, "How would I even deposit an American check here in the Netherlands? Like, I have an American bank account because I'm American as apple pie, but how would that work?" She says, "You can't because we stopped accepting checks 5 years ago."
really?
Because we're so modern. Yeah,
How
they don't even accept
advanced?
them.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
smart.
I was thinking, yeah, very smart, by the way. I was
Mhm.
thinking, "Oh, this is absolutely not a cultural thing. This guy just gave me a business card for vibes." It was kind of iconic, but I don't remember the guy as a thing.
Well, that I think
Sorry to that
tells you
man.
everything you need to know. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to that guy. I have one more for you. Let me hold on,
Okay.
hold on. Let me pick a good one. Oh, yes, we'll end on this note. This is from, everybody's fave, Alex Hormozy, who you
Mhm.
love dearly.
Um,
Oh,
mm.
more people will lose their jobs to laziness than AI this year. The same people begging for opportunities can't even manage to show up on time. Your biggest threat isn't your competition, it's mediocrity.
Man, I'm not a huge fan, but here is why Alex is right. I'm gonna go ahead and give him a right on
Objective.
this. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the fact is, there's always shifts in the world. The dynamic changes. And the fact of the matter is, if you're driven, you're going to find ways to stick to your business. You're going to find ways to adapt. You're going to figure out ways to keep rolling with the punches, even when things are kind of rough. And while it might be a harsh take to say, it's just laziness, well, I guess to a certain degree it is because the world is shifting in a certain direction, right? And if you learn how to evolve alongside the ever changing shift, then you'll do a lot better than somebody who just puts their head in the sand and says, "Well, it's up to whatever to make sure that I'm okay." So, yeah, I think about it all the time. I don't like to leave my future in the hands of any other person. I like to, kind of figure out what I need to figure out at any given time to keep moving along, keep playing with creativity, to adjust to whatever I need to keep making money if it's, business driven. But yeah, I think he's pretty right. A lot of people, specifically that I see, are complacent with what they know. And then once they get kind of complacent with it, they just sit there and expect endless returns. And that's simply not, based on what we talked about earlier, that's simply not the way that I think life in general works. So yeah,
Right.
I gotta agree. I don't like the whole. I don't like a lot of gurus. Nothing personally against this guy. I'm not a. He had some really funny lines. I don't know if you heard. The one where he's like, what do you say? Every day I wake up and like I think about the slaves because they didn't have a chance to not do something, and so I think about that and it drives me to do something. I'm serious. That's like an actual
What?
thing that he said. And once I saw that, I'm like, and maybe he had just like a messed up day. When you put yourself out there that much, like, you're liable to say silly things. But once I heard that, I was like, damn boy, like you're
Hold
reaching
on.
on this one. Yeah.
Hold on. I just have to pull up
Yeah,
exactly
pull
what
it
he
up. It's
said.
pretty funny.
Here's what he said. Slaves worked all the hours they were awake their entire lives. If they can do it, so can I.
Motivation
That is
101. Now I kind of want to print that off with his face and put it on my office wall because that's a good meme, to be
no, this
honest
is
with
valid.
you.
At
Like,
first, I thought that you were beefing with him because you guys were in some kind of like beard off. You were like, "Oh, this guy thinks he can grow a beard bigger than mine.
uh,
Well, I'll show you."
I
And now I
hate
realize
I
these
I
guys.
hate that the whole beard thing has been stolen and popularized. Okay, I've been doing this a long time, but
Okay,
it's when I'm whatever,
I'm
just
sorry that happened to you, Nick.
thanks.
But I feel like this is actually a valid criticism. I think that this is actually a valid criticism of hustle culture in general. Um,
Yes.
saying it's tone deaf would actually kind of be a little bit of an understatement because it's like there's still slave labor. There are still slaves. So if you're working hard every day and you're thinking, well, thank I'm not one of those slaves. You're just
Yeah.
kind of using other people's misfortune to make yourself feel better, which is
Yes.
messed up. Like you can literally just say, I'm so grateful to have the life that I have and to have the ability to work as hard as I
Keep
do.
thinking, yeah.
You don't have to say, well, at least I'm not one of those people. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
There's more eloquent ways to think about this whole slave
Oh,
situation.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
So, I mean, and then Nick's coming in like we're all slaves to capitalism,
Ain't that true?
and then
Don't
we
get me
go back
started.
down.
I can rant another fucking 2 hours about it. Don't get me started at the end of the
No, we're not gonna
conversation.
rev you up this time, but next one, I think I'll have some fun ones for you so you can kind of like. I was thinking about naming the internal podcasts. What do you
Yeah,
think about the rabbit hole?
I love it. Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
That's good.
perfect.
Yes.
We'll
Well,
start
that's
with this
yeah.
one. I'll put
Long
it in
time
the
coming that
title.
we've got a name for it. That's a great idea. Yeah.
I know. It's not
Hmm.
just like, okay, because these are distinctly separate and like a lot the vibe is different from a regular podcast and I quite enjoy them. So I feel like it's appropriate that it has its own little like
Yeah.
moniker. Like,
I like
okay.
that too. That's great. Yeah, that's
Okay.
see, I don't know where I'd be without Artemis, honestly. Yes, you keep me going.
Bankrupt.
Thank you so much. Yeah, probably, I appreciate you.
No.
I genuinely
Well,
appreciate you.
yeah, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody who took the time to watch us ramble about our takes on judging other people's judgments of the marketing industry.
It
We're
was
going to
fun.
see you guys in the next podcast with whatever random garbage that I have thought of at 3 in the morning to throw at Nick in order to make him work his brain at 10 a.m. Like the great employee that I am, because that's what
Yes.
I'm here for. Okay. Until next time, and we will see you guys very soon. Bye.